Welcome everybody to today's webinar. We're excited to have you join us today. I'm Alan Hall, I'm Product Marketing Lead for Symantec Network Security Solutions, and I'm joined by Stas Ehlenkirch, who's the Principal Product Manager and our all-around expert for all things ZTNA. We've also got Jen Nipper with us to help with the webinar and coordinate some of our questions and any issues that we might have with GoToWebinar. Today, we hope to bring you a great webinar and share with you some of the latest innovations from Symantec to deliver secure access. Now, just for some housekeeping, at the end of the webinar, we're going to try to have a short Q&A. So please use the question submission portion of GoToWebinar to ask a question, and I'll try to keep an eye on those questions and answer as many of those as we can. As it makes sense. So let's see here. With that, so today we're going to share with you what we believe, how we believe Zero Trust Network Access provides, secure access now and in the future, and ultimately provides a much more, effective solution to some of the cumbersome VPNs that you're familiar with. And today we're going to cover the need for ZTNA, especially in today's environment when we've got users, demanding immediate access from any location. Stas is going to give us a quick overview of what ZTNA is and how it works. And we're going to then focus on some of the Symantec innovations, namely how Google Cloud allows us to deliver unrivaled performance, and then some of the unique integrations that we have with our leading, DLP, data loss prevention solution, threat inspection that Symantec is known for, integration with our web isolation, etc. Stas is going to then cover, some demos in those areas. And again, if we've got sufficient time, we're going to address a few of the questions at the end. So with that, let me turn the time over to Stas.
Thanks, Alan. Hello, everyone. So as Alan mentioned before, my name is Stas. I'm managing the product manager team for ZTNA and web isolation. We'll start with some sort of short introduction and going through the way to explore the fascinating evolution of ZTNA, which is Zero Trust Network Access, and how basically it emerged from the pressing need of modern business and security landscapes. We will also discuss the promises and essential components for ZTNA so you can do successful migration, and highlighting why it actually worth the effort, which is not obvious, right? ZTNA not only unlocks the use cases for VPN, which VPN basically cannot offer, right? But it's also representing a new generation of security and enhancing the network and application protection while simplifying orchestration, which is pretty important by itself. So this basically makes ZTNA some sort of pivotal component in our approach to secure, efficiently and flexible network access. So let's dive into why this shift was not just inevitable, but kind of essential. So ZTNA evolved from a combination of pressing business and security needs. So it's pretty important because it's not only, only security stuff. We're also talking about the business needs, which kind of influence on this pretty importantly. So making the development of the next generation access technology not just a choice, but necessity, right? And ultimately becoming some sort of industry standard. So on the business side, the growing demand for remote work and the proliferation, I would say, of bring your own device or unmanaged device, if you wish, have made flexible, secure access to company resources as necessity, right? It's not some sort of non-essential use case anymore. And basically, it started as a unique requirement for a few, has now become a standard practice across industries. Obviously, the COVID-19 pandemic accelerated this trend, and making remote work as necessity rather than some sort of option. As business adopted this kind of new normal, so the need for secure and seamless remote access became paramount. And many times companies are migrating part of their resources to the cloud with application hosted across multiple locations and something even across different regions. So this distributed approach introduced another complexity in managing and securing access to this application, as well as poor traditional network architecture suffer from insufficient hairpinning. Alan, can you click just to show, here, which creates some sort of traffic which is unnecessarily routed through the central data centers, causing latency and degrading the user experience, which might be the good reason why I love VPN, no one said ever, right? Another key business driver is to desire to cut operational expenses, OpEx. So companies are increasingly shifting their resources to the cloud, hosting applications across various locations, which requires efficient, secure access management. By shifting the operational lifecycle to the cloud, businesses can streamline administration and management of multiple security products. On security side and challenges, actually, we have on security front, I would say, we have traditional methods like VPNs fall short due to critical vulnerabilities as lateral movement and unrestricted network access, which have been instrumental in numerous ransomware attack. You're probably aware of all of this, right? It's not something which is hard to find. So once attacker penetrates the network perimeters, the traditional network design often allows them to move freely within the network, leading to widespread damage and data breaches. It's called lateral movement, right? So the unrestricted lateral movement has been a significant factor in the success of many ransomware attacks, enabling attackers to compromise multiple systems and access sensitive data with relative ease. So moreover, legacy VPN solutions typically provide full network access to users, regardless of actual need, right? We just like open everything wide and, pray. So adopting all or nothing approach that poses considerable security risk. And this broad access increases the attack surface, making it even easier for attackers to exploit vulnerabilities and gain control over critical network resources. And the lack of granular access control means that even if the user's device is compromised, the attacker can potentially access the entire network, leading to severe security breaches. And that's exactly what we want to prevent, right? Additionally, in traditional setups, essential data for compliance and incident response is scattered across multiple servers, appliances, locations, whatever. And this kind of dispersion results in significant insufficient and challenging in maintaining comprehensive visibility. The fragmented nature of data structure storage complicates the process of monitoring and auditing when you need to respond to some security incident, as information not centralized and not easily accessible in one place. So this kind of lack of visibility hampers the ability to quickly detect responses and to threats, increasing the likelihood of successful attack or any kind of breach. And last but not least here is that traditional approach to network security often fails to account the dynamic nature of modern business environments. And what I'm talking about is where resources and applications are increasingly hosted across the multiple cloud platforms and regions, the complexity of further maintain the challenges effectively and maintain the security controls and ensuring consistent protection across diverse environments become to be pretty complicated. This evolving trend landscape and the growing sophistication of cyber attacks necessitate a more robust and flexible security solution that can adapt to these changing conditions. So now let's talk about ZTNA promises. While we describe the problem, Alan, if you can just jump one slide further. Yeah, thank you. So, no, the previous one, sorry. Thank you. So let's delve into how ZTNA architecture actually effectively addresses the security and business gap and challenges we just discussed, right? And how it can actually unlock the new use cases for accelerating your business proposals. So ZTNA mitigates security risk by preventing any ingress traffic into the organizational network, thereby clocking internal resources and isolating them from external threats. This approach removes the network surface attack and prevents lateral movement from user to the application. So if you take a look on the visualization here on the screen, it basically says, I will not intend to protect the whole network anymore, but I will focus on the applications, on the resources. My goal is to protect the application from the data leak and damage, even if the device is compromised. That's my ultimate goal, and not just secure generally the network as I did before. Now, this kind of approach called SDP, which stands for Software Defined Perimeter, and contradicts the perimeter, legacy perimeter, which we all know. So unlike traditional methods, Zero Trust does not rely on implicit trust within the network, right? And that's exactly the main point here. Instead, it employs the content-based access and continuously evaluating the access context, such as user's IP, location, authentication method if you're authenticated with an identity provider, like MFA or whatever. Behavior, obviously, the device status, if the device healthy or not, application URI, and requested activity as well. So this dynamic evaluation allows ZTNA to restrict access to specific application and resources based on the user identity and contexts, which is significantly enhancing security. Alan, please, next slide. So context-based access naturally leads to an access shift left migration. If you know the term, like shift left, right? It shifts left the things to the cloud, basically, where access privileges are maintained primarily by network administrators. And this kind of centralized approach provides comprehensive login and monitoring, offering better insight and control over the data flows. So it kind of solves our problem, which we introduced recently, regarding the lack of visibility and lack of central point when you can actually trace the things happen. Transitioning ZTNA services to a SaaS model, which ZTNA usually pursued as SaaS model, optimize access paths and improving performance and user satisfaction. So this model also supports bring your own device access, right? Which is it would be named as unmanaged device access. But the idea is you're not using your corporate device, which kind of managed, but you're using your personal machine or computer in the hotel or any kind of computer which basically can be considered as personal. So this model, which supports bring your own device access, accommodating a variety of use cases and enhances the flexibility for modern work environment. This kind of inherent flows in traditional systems underscores the urgent need for advanced solutions like ZTNA, and which offer more secure control and efficient way to manage network access. So ZTNA, by its SaaS nature, enables bring your own device access while leveraging the service's global DNS for agentless entry, right? So we basically take the global DNS, which is internet access, pure internet access, and use it in order to steer traffic to ZTNA cloud to ensure that the access is secure. So what sets Symantec ZTNA apart is its unique capability to provide simultaneous access to the same exact resource, both with and without agent, even from the same machine. And we'll have a part of demonstration when I will happily demonstrate how this exactly works. This flexibility ensures seamless and secure access, enhancing user experience and productivity, obviously. And by the way, as I mentioned before, we definitely have a presentation. It's a part of demonstration. So all of the interesting good stuff, like hands-on, will be definitely presented in this webinar as well. So now let's talk a bit about the user experience, because it's something which is pretty important in the world of access. So it would be important to know that Symantec ZTNA utilizes Google Cloud infrastructure, and this allows us to deliver unparalleled performance scalability, and also to ensure robust security without compromising any kind of efficiency. For the most distant client in Singapore, which you can just observe on your screen, I'm talking about the results, the transaction actually was improved by 62%. So generally, this kind of report, which you can see on the screen, is a total report, which you can find, it's publicly available on the internet, and it was executed by third party, which actually compared the direct access for the users to their application and Symantec security SaaS stack. So, which is interesting that even for the on-prem client, which located basically in the same city as a server, right? Symantec SaaS improved transaction by 21%, which is pretty impressive. And again, the more distant the client, the more impressive the transaction time improvement. And the reason for this will be explained in that exact slide. So how did we accomplish that, right? Like how we achieved all of this? So the answer is we didn't, like Google did. By streamlining the routing and establishing direct connection between point of presence, POPs, right? They minimize the number of hops between routes to the final destination. And additionally, they optimize the protocol stack for greater efficiency. So it's something which average enterprise cannot do, cannot easily to achieve, I would say. So when you observe the architecture, it becomes clear that it's some sort of diving into the metro and immediately meeting the nearest POP, then emerging on the other side is like much more efficient, right, than switching between different transportation types like buses and trains and experience delay in the connection points. And that's exactly the reason why the performance and user experience significantly better. And here's additional unprecedented value of using cloud infrastructure of Symantec, which is resiliency. The Symantec ZTNA architecture is designed to shift connectivity and processing pods across the globe by one click, ensuring unparalleled resiliency for geographical disasters. It can also affinity pod to specific applications for compliance or performance need, providing some sort of like robust and adaptable solution. With that, like being able to roll out the processing across the globe while leveraging 3 availability zones per POP, it significantly boosts the resilience level. So again, you have per each and every processing point of presence, you have 3 availability zones, which are different physical data centers. And still, even if something goes wrong, you can move the application processing point by one click from one part of globe to another, seamlessly moving the processing point and providing access even in case of disaster, geo disaster. So during our brief catch-up, we discussed several well-known points in the security industry that have driven the evolution of ZTNA to meet modern business and security demands. We also highlighted some outstanding features of Symantec ZTNA, offering more granular access control, enhanced visibility, and improved, I would say, best-in-class user experience. But here's the thing, ZTNA represents not just a technological advancement, but some sort of crucial evolution for today's digital footprint. And yet, you might think that VPN is good enough. But yeah, consider the drawbacks, lagging user experience, which no one likes, no support for bring your own device, less security, potential breaches, lack of centralized login and incident troubleshooting. So is it worth the effort transition to ZTNA still? Does ZTNA offer more than just connectivity as VPN does? And the answer, yeah, is absolutely it is, at least Symantec ZTNA. Because ZTNA not only outperforms VPN, but also goes beyond the capabilities of many VPN vendors. And the first which I would love to touch is DLP integration. So basically, you might think a VPN is good enough, right? But I'm going to talk about something which is much more beyond than just access. So let's start with DLP here. So imagine having Symantec DLP deployments installed in your environment, which you potentially might have, to prevent sensitive information from leaving your network, right? And you want to apply the same exact same policies, which you have for SaaS application. You want to apply them on your internal resources hosted on-prem or in clouds. Well, this can be addressed by deploying some sort of proxies, and it becomes even more challenging with multiple data centers resulting from cloud migration when you have many of them, right? So Symantec ZTNA offers cloud-based DLP integration and inspecting employee-initiated upload and download requests against predefined policies within the data bus. So this solution eliminates the need for proxy deployments, enhance the user experience, and ensures full compliance across the organization. So if you look at this, we basically can consider this and see this as three main advantages which this solution introduces. So first is policy consistency. This allows for inspection of file upload and download without altering existing DLP policies. That means that you can maintain your current semantic DLP compliance policies without modification. The second one is exceptional user experience and bring your own device support. This provides you an outstanding user experience and enables unmanaged access as well. So the feature facilitates smooth operation and broadens the use case for third-party access, such as contractors, while maintaining the compliance, right? So you want to provide someone access, which is not part of your organization, but you still want to keep your compliance in place. So third one is, as we already mentioned, is reduce operational expenses and simplification. So this shift data inspection operation to the cloud, simplifying the process and reducing the need for local infrastructure management. So this transition not only cuts operational costs, but also allows streamlined administration, making it much more easier to manage security policy and compliance because you're doing it in one place. To apply DLP policies, you just need to simply map the application detection ID from semantic DLP into ZTNA activity policy configuration. So this approach allows for gradual rollout of DLP policy enforcement, targeting specific users or groups or clients and applications. So it minimizes any potential impact for misconfigurations. So you basically can slowly grow, right? And apply this kind of policies, targeting specific users or specific applications or groups. So while the cloud detector inspects data in the cloud, so policy configuration remain accessible at the on-prem enforcer. So let's say you have an on-prem enforcer of Phoenix 16 and up, right? So eventually you can apply exactly the same policies for cloud detector, which integrated with ZTNA console. This seamless add-on capability eliminates any kind of need for additional configurations and ensuring a smooth and efficient integration process, which is pretty important, again, in terms of onboarding. Another very interesting and very crucial capability is threat inspection service of Symantec. So it's incredible that we can apply compliance policies to private web applications. It's very nice, but can we also protect this application from malicious content? So the answer is yes, absolutely we can. So Symantec boasts a robust anti-malware engine and sandbox that have been trusted by numerous customers over the years. And this proven technology is now integrated into ZTNA Data Pass and offering a comprehensive layer of protection against potential threats. This is particularly beneficial for preventing unintentional malware uploads from infected device, especially if it's personal device or unmanageable. So it basically helps to ensure even the most covered threats and intercepted before they can cause a harm. Moreover, by shifting inspection process to the cloud, Symantec ZTNA not only alleviates the processing burden from the customer's environment, but also enhance overall user experience, again, because it's a cloud and it leverages the Google infrastructure. So the cloud-based inspection allows for seamless real-time analysis without compromising on performance or security. It's a powerful solution that combines the strength of cloud computing with advanced security protocols and security engine of Symantec, which again, as I mentioned before, very solid and helped a lot of customers through the years. So this approach not only safeguards against like known threats, but also adapts to emerging challenges, providing a dynamic and resilient defense strategy for modern enterprises. And the reason because it has not only the inspection itself, but also the sandbox capabilities. And one more thing. We all understand the critical importance of preventing sensitive and even not so sensitive information from being leaked to unauthorized or low privileged user. This is top priority for like most of our organization, yours and ours. Well, some resources are blocked from access by predefined governance rule, DLP classification. Others should be accessible only for preview. with copying, printing, and editing strictly prohibited. So imagine someone printing a list of employee salaries and go home, okay? Leaving it in a printed tray and just, leave. So this might be not a cyber security attack or something, but it could certainly trigger a crisis within an organization, right? Starting some sort of Hunger Games scenario, which definitely not something you want. Similarly, the code embedded a web page could contain sensitive information such as application libraries or metadata that should never reach the end user machine. At least you don't want this to happen, as it could, provide valuable clue to attackers. So fortunately, we already have best-in-class technology that has proven invaluable to our customers over the years. And this technology is remote browser isolation, or web isolation, how we call it in short. This powerful engine and technology will now be integrated into ZTNA data pass, enabling the use of its unique capabilities to protect applications rather than just users, as is typical with web isolation use cases. So by applying web isolation policies for internal application access, we can prevent sensitive data, metadata, which is much more important, from landing on user's machine and avoid unintentional data leak that could be protected by policy. And the best part, you guess it's right, like all of other ZTNA capabilities, this processing occurs in the cloud, delivering an exceptional user experience with no on-site maintenance. So this means you get top-tier security without the usual headaches of managing infrastructure. Again, all of these capabilities I will have a chance to demonstrate in the last part of our webinar. Now I would love to touch lastly another thing, which is Agent Traffic Manager. So the essential for onboarding ZTNA, right? So okay, we learned about ZTNA, we understand what it does, we understand the capabilities which it introduced, which is much more than just access, but what kind of essential should I have for onboarding ZTNA? So beyond the core ZTNA capabilities, right? What we should have is the ability to address gradual rollout functionality. So this particular feature, which is called Agent Traffic Manager, or ATM, by the way, which you can find in your Cloud Suite console since 2 days ago, because it went GA, publicly available for everyone. So this feature allows organizations to deploy ZTNA services slowly by targeting specific user groups or devices, which means you can select any kind of location, user, device, group, and apply ZTNA services only for this particular set of entities, and avoiding any kind of impact on all of the rest of your organization. So Symantec provides Agent Traffic Manager to facilitate this slow rollout across various services, including not only ZTNA, but Secure Web Gateway, Cloud Firewall Service, DNS Proxy, and more. But when planning to test a service to onboard a set of applications, it's essential to configure Agent Traffic Manager setting appropriately, because otherwise, if you do not apply service, it will not catch up, right? So this ensures that ZTNA intercept traffic from specific user location, and thereby preventing any unintended impact on the entire organization you have. Alan, I believe it's demo time now, unless we have questions that we want to answer on.
Let me change you presenter here.
No questions so far, Stas.
All right.
Okay. Okay. So hopefully you can see my screen now.
Can.
Amazing. So what I'm going to show now is what you can see now is internal application, which I access through my global DNS, which is called T's Demo Portal, Stas Demo Pro at luminatesec.com. And I have 2 files. I have many files basically, but let's say I want to download some ZTNA text, which has nothing but just some number. And as you can see, I can trying to do that. So you see, I actually download this. And now I will try to do the same for another file, which is called confidential.txt. So this file actually has inside in the word confidential, which I specify in my DLP policy as sensitive. So I'll try to do exactly the same thing. And for some reason, wrong application, my bad. I will try to download from here. And I was blocked. And the reason is that this action was blocked by Cloud DLP compliance rules, right? So again, I try to download a file from the application. Let me demonstrate it again because it might be slightly confusing, right? I'll download this file, which I was successfully possible to accomplish. However, when I tried to download another file, which basically located exactly in the same URI, I was blocked by DLP policy. Now, the reason for that is because I have a policy in DLP which integrated with ZTNA, and all of this happens as part of the data bus. Now, let me prove why I'm saying the truth. I have a logs open here. So let me refresh it. So you can see that I tried to download a file, right, from my machine located in Belgium, and I was blocked when I tried to do so by DLP file activity policy, which eventually prevent me from downloading the file, which named confidential.txt, right, and attempt to download the file. Moreover, I have the DLP inspection request ID, which can be traceable in DLP console, so you can basically see and trace exact event and debug it. Okay. Now let's go to our initial application, which I opened before, and try to do something else. Let's try to download another file, and this file is ACAR, right? So it's basically used for testing antivirus software. So let me try to download this. So you see that I was blocked again. This time the reason is because threat inspection service actually prevent me from downloading this file, and the reason is it's malicious, right? So let's go to our logs again and just verify that we actually did the job properly. So see here, you can see that this time I was blocked by another policy, which is TIS files activity, right? And I tried to download another file, which called acar.txt, right? And I was blocked, and I got the same 403 error message as before. Okay, nice. Now, so we saw in action the DLP, we saw in action threat inspection service. Now, if I go to the policy configuration threat inspection service, it's pretty simple and naive. The only thing you need to do is just to go to your configuration and add the policy for activity as deny or allow rules by selecting appropriate checkbox in your like Dropbox option. So in this case, I just like use threat protection service for file download and file upload, and that's exactly why I was blocked from download attempt. Now keep in mind, as I mentioned before, here I have assigned application and assigned entities. So you can apply this particular policy not for all organizations by once, but slowly applying it for specific users or specific application, providing some sort of slow rollout and gaining confidence and learning the functionality while not affecting the whole organization in once. When we talk about the DLP policy, so let's get back to the logs. When we're talking about the DLP policy, which we were blocked by here, in that case, the required configuration is pretty simple. Just select the DLP cloud detector here as a response for file download and upload, and map into the application detection ID, which you already have in your DLP console, right? So you have your DLP console, you have your security policy, you have your application detection ID, which is some sort of set of security policies. The only thing you need to do is to map this into the ZTNA console, and the cloud detector, which deployed in a cloud and integrated with ZTNA, will make sure to inspect this content accordingly and reply the verdict to ZTNA. So we saw in action two capabilities, which is threat inspection service and DLP. Now let's go to the isolation, which I promised you before. So here I have another application. You can ignore the URL. It's like my dev environment, so excuse me for the naming. But if you remember, what it's trying to achieve is to apply some prevent copy-paste policy for unintentional leak for web application, right? So the first thing first, I can basically prove you that I'm accessed through the isolation and not just natively through the ZTNA. You can see it here. Now let's try and grab a lot of information by one, go here and click copy. You see the message which appeared? The marked text is longer than the text copying limit, which means I can set a profile for number of char I allow to copy. For example, if I do exactly the same for short amount of char, for short amount of data, and click copy, you see that I definitely can copy this and there is no any problem with it. If I do this for a lot of information, I have an error which actually says that something I was like blocked by a policy. Now let's do the same for Control V and try to paste. I have the paste operation on the side are prohibited. So as I mentioned before, basically you can apply not only network transaction policies like file download, file upload, prevent get, post, put, specific URI, DLP, threat inspection services, but you also can apply isolation capabilities by preventing unintentional leak, hiding metadata of application from the users, right? And in near future, also to apply doc isolation for the documents hosted internally. So you will be able to preview them, but not to print, okay? So on a log perspective, if you go to the logs, so you see that you don't see, but we need to refresh it first so you can see it. No, it's a dev. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So let's take some sort of like any kind of activity here. So basically, you can see that I tried to attempt in this application any kind of action, and I do the same for for different logs here. We should be which reflects the actual situation. You will see that the activity type will appear as web isolation. So I apologize I have like dev environment, staging environment, so it's slightly might be not clear, but let me put it again. Okay, so if you go and copy and do any kind or just access the application, so eventually the access event will appear here as activity type web isolation, which means you're not just natively access through ZTNA, but you're accessing through the isolation engine, which can allow you all of this policy enforcement. Okay. Now, last but not least is Agent Traffic Manager. But before we talk about Agent Traffic Manager, I do want to handle the conversation and provide stage back to Alan so he can ask any kind of question if we have so.
Sounds good. Stas, we do have a few questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hold on here. Let me see if I can just a second. Get back over to presentation. There we go. We got a few questions here. We also want to leave some time at the end, maybe just to share some resources.
Yep.
But so I got a question here. What about mobile device support for ZTNA?
Oh, amazing question. The answer is easy. Yes. So mobile device absolutely supported with ZTNA. It supports both on iOS, my bad, iOS and Android. Moreover, it's pretty important when you're using cloud proxy for mobile, because you can do this now with a single agent. So eventually you can use like Symantec mobile application, and when you deploy this, it will actually grant you an access both to cloud proxy or CASB or any kind of isolation, any kind of product, network product you have, and ZTNA in the same way. So you have like one application basically enough to support not only specifically ZTNA, but any kind of network product of Symantec.
Got it. Another question here, maybe a little bit of a support question actually, but what is the status of slowness of uploading files using ZTNA? I don't know if that's anything you're familiar with.
Slowness uploading files using ZTNA. I believe that the question might be related to specific segment application. So we are working on some optimization, which eventually should be rolled out soon. If you're using native web applications, the performance should be pretty, like, quite impressive.
Got it. Okay. Question here, Symantec, ZTNA Symantec. The solution is the set of 3 products, question mark, and how it competes with ZTNA solution from SonicWall or I think Fortinet. I think they're asking if, how do we get the solution? Maybe is it a single product? You obviously shared, DLP integration, threat inspection integration. Obviously, this would require a license to DLP to do that integration.
Yes.
Any comment on that?
Basically, like I would say that from the user perspective, like we are delivering our capabilities for agentless or single agent, where you actually have only one agent. So it's not like, from user perspective, it's never like, set of 3 products. It's always like one product which they use. So if they use Symantec, they have an agent or agentless, that's what they do. From administrative perspective, it's true that you need to purchase another SKU if you want to go for, add-on like DLP capabilities. That's true, but it also happens, in different vendors as well. I do understand the comment about different administrative console which used. So here I want to comment that ZTNA hopefully pretty fast will become to be a part of Symantec Enterprise Console. So it will have the shared framework with cloud proxy and isolation as well. And regarding DLP, so usually we consider this as different teams which barely wants to interact one with another. I'm talking about the network team and security teams, right? And information protection teams, which could be different teams, and they don't want to intervene one in the work of another. So in that case, a different console, which probably will not be a big problem.
Got it. Maybe just a couple questions and then we'll move on, because I think you got a little bit more of a demo, but simple one, I think. Can we customize the page blocking file? Which I think we can. I think that's standard within kind of the Cloud Swig, basically, to alert the customer.
Yeah, so that's a good question. We basically can customize this on cloud. We're working on something for Cloud Swig to even extend this kind of customization. ZTNA currently does not allow customization of error, but it will have it as soon as we get to a Symantec Enterprise Console. This capability definitely is in our roadmap to enhance.
Got it. One final one, then we'll move on. Does OCR work with DLP integration with ZTNA?
I need to check it. I don't have an answer about that.
Got it. Okay. Very good. Well, did you have more on, what was it? I think we were going to kind of do a little bit of a wrap up.
Yeah, we definitely can. Yeah, we definitely can. Yeah. I was about to show Agent Traffic Manager, but because we're out of time, I definitely can. I think we can just go and wrap it up.
I mean, the important thing with Agent Traffic Manager is the ability to essentially slow roll the deployment of ZTNA and other network security capabilities based on the customer's appetite to roll it out to a small part of the organization, a group, individual users, a particular location, and that just simply applies to rolling out ZTNA. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing, and that's the benefit of what Agent Traffic Manager can do. So I think that's an amazing capability.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Just Couple quick, slides here. ZTNA from Symantec has been recognized as a leader. Cuppinger Cole, analyst firm out of EMEA, has recognized Symantec by Broadcom and actually put us in the lead position for their Cuppinger Cole Leadership Compass. You can see Broadcom right there. We've got access to this report. Here is a collection of links to various resources, that Leadership Compass report, ZTNA data sheet, great white paper on enabling remote work from IDC, securing private application access white paper, some great use cases around Symantec ZTNA, 4 use cases to solve real world connectivity problems and drive business, a case study, securing the immediate shift remote work white paper, and ZTNA, a cornerstone of data-centric SASE, another blog. Speaking of blogs, we've got some recent blogs out there. One, obviously, by our man here, Stas, making ZTNA administration easier. And then we got a series from Eileen, who I think is actually on the call. Thank you, Eileen. As a guest blogger, one of our Symantec Knights. She's amazing and has done some great work and put together 3 blogs I think that'll be very beneficial. ZTNA overview.
Impressive.
Exactly. Very impressive. Thank you again, Eileen. DLP inspection, which Stas demonstrated here, and then implementing ZTNA. All of these resources are available as a handout on the GoToWebinar. It's a PDF. That PDF has links to all of these individual resources. So I encourage you to take advantage of that. Inside that is also a link to those blog posts that I've mentioned here. So that's where we're going to go to Q&A, and we already addressed some of the Q&A. Let's see, what other, maybe we got just a room for a few more. The question is, do we need to install an agent in the devices to protect it?
If the question is about the endpoint, you definitely can. Symantec has endpoint capability, and if you're going with Symantec SaaS solution, which is endpoint, Symantec endpoint, it will already has the ZTNA capabilities, SWE capabilities, CASB capabilities, isolation, everything for traffic steering of network inside. If you mean for ZTNA specifically, you can use either agent for native access, where you actually access from the device to the cloud, to the Symantec Stack cloud, using a tunnel, or you can use agentless, which actually doesn't require an agent, but then you will go through the global internet, which is totally fine, but this will require you either to own the domain or to use Symantec luminatesec.com suffix. Okay, so it does not allow you to use any kind of external domain, so you can access your application in something like my test application internal.net if you are not on this domain, or you don't want to use luminatesec.com as a suffix for the application access.
Got it. Let's see here. Here's a question. We have our own VPN in our company. If we have to employ ZTNA to our systems, should we replace the existing VPN to ZTNA completely?
Up to you. So here's the thing. ZTNA by itself is definitely VPN replacement. So if you want, and if you ask me, you want, yeah, definitely go and do that. However, it can coexist together. So it's not necessarily like should be full-blown project. It very depends on your intention as organization. So if it should replace VPN, yes, it should. If it's necessary and you can just go and slow rollout or address specific use cases for bring your own device, or slow roll out some application just to gain confidence and gain learn more about the product and see where you need it, where not, that's definitely the way forward. So it's basically up to you and up to your organization intention.
Got it. All right. I know we've got a few other questions, but I think given the time, and we're already over our allotted time here for the webinar, I think we'll maybe round this out and bring it to an end. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us on today's webinar.
Thanks so much for your time.
Those that participated. Stas, great job. Appreciate your demos. Look forward to hearing from all of you guys and seeing you guys on the next webinar as well. So thank you very much and have a great week.
See you.